So you the
I'm Drake
streets.
Shooter.
You're the streets.
Yeah, I'm Drake Shooter.
Oh,
I'm not lying to you. Anybody disrespect Drake, I'm shooting.
Scared of Drake.
You scared of Drake?
Certain people, you gotta be scared of Drake. He not a fighter. Not a fighter, and he's powerful. He gotta be dangerous in some shape or form, fashion.
The guy who's suing him is a very famous producer and rapper, Detail, who says that Drake organized a beatdown on him in his backyard. You know, Drake's famous backyard with the pool where he has all the parties.
Drake and Kendrick's beef has been brewing for a while now, and it's clear who the internet is backing up. With the release of the Not Like Us music video, it feels like Drake is once again the subject of internet trolling, adding salt to an open wound.
I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a you tired? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
However, there's a side to Drake that most people might be underestimating. Despite the current perception that Kendrick is winning, there's talk that Drake has a darker, more dangerous side that even Kendrick might fear. Drake has managed to maintain a relatively clean public image, especially considering the numerous scandals linked to his name. The Toronto-raised rapper is often seen as one of hip-hop's nice guys, even hosting the ESPYs, which portrays him as unthreatening. But if you look beyond the surface of Drizzy's charm, you'll find some shady dealings. Wherever Drake goes, violence seems to follow. This could be because he's a huge star in rap and a magnet for unwanted attention, or maybe his mob ties aren't just lyrics in a song. Let's start with some of the sketchy people Drake has associated with, like the rapper Top 5, whose real name is Hassan Ali. Top 5 is a member of the Go Get 'Em gang, and is best known for his ties with Drake, even claiming to be Drizzy's personal shooter.
So you the
I'm Drake
streets.
Shooter.
You're the streets.
Yeah, I'm Drake Shooter.
Oh,
I'm not lying to you. Anybody disrespect Drake, I'm shooting.
Top 5 has always been controversial. He grew up in Lawrence Heights, also known as the Jungle, and made a name for himself in 2014 with tracks like Hall of Fame featuring Robin Banks and Shirt Off on Any Block. He got the nickname Shirt Off Shady because he often appeared shirtless in music videos. According to an interview with Noisy, the shirtless trend began in 2013 at the OVO Bounce tournament when NBA player Brandon Jennings took his shirt off. Top 5 followed suit, took a picture with him, and posted it on Instagram with the hashtag Shirt Off Shotty. This became his trademark. Drake was also at the tournament, and Top 5 got a shirtless pic with him, marking the beginning of their friendship. Top 5's career got a significant boost when Drake reposted him on Instagram and mentioned him in songs. In December 2013, Drake posted a picture of himself watching one of Top 5's videos with the caption "Back to the 6th, word of Top 5. A few years later, Drake mentioned him on the track Grammys from his album Views. The lyrics go, "Boys better back off me, Hall of Fame, like I'm shirt off, like I'm shirt off, like I'm shirt off shoddy. Whole city going crazy, whole city going crazy. Top 5, no debating. Top 5, top 5, top 5. This shout out not only included the name of Top 5's breakout song and nickname, but also his actual rap name, showing that Drake was genuinely supporting him. They were seen together multiple times, confirming their bond was more than just a name drop. With a cosign from not just the biggest rapper in his city, but arguably the biggest artist in the world, Top 5 seemed poised to take over Toronto's rap scene. However, his ties to the streets prevented him from reaching his full potential. Top 5 led the GGG gang from the Jungle, allied with the Upper Jane and Driftwood neighborhoods. He was notorious for going on DJ Academic's show to brag about his street activities. During one appearance, he claimed to be Drake's personal shooter, and that if anyone in Toronto had issues with Drake, the GGG gang would handle it.
so you the
I'm Drake
streets.
Shooter.
You're the streets.
Yeah, I'm Drake Shooter.
Oh,
I'm not lying to you. Anybody disrespect Drake, I'm shooting.
However, Top 5's need for clout got the better of him. If he was truly about that life, boasting about it on Academic's show wasn't the smartest move. He was also known for dissing ops on social media and threatening to snatch rival rappers' chains. This made him a real problem for his enemies and one of the most hated rappers in Toronto. Top 5 really got himself into a wild situation with the law after he went live while on the run for It all started on January 31st, 2021 when a college student named Hashim Omar Hashim was heading out to grab dinner with a few friends. He came back to his place around 9 p.m., parked in the building's garage, and was about to swipe his pass to get in. That's when someone ran up on him from behind, shot up his car, and K-worded him.
Hashim Omar Hashi. The young man was shot multiple times as he drove his car into the parking garage here at 40 Falstaff Avenue near Jane Street last Sunday.
The police later found a black 2017 Honda Civic that had been set on fire not too far from the murder scene. The Honda matched the description of the car used in the shooting, and the cops figured it belonged to the shooter. At first, the police were baffled. Hashim was just a college student with no gang ties or criminal record. He was studying to be an accountant at Humber College and wasn't known to have any enemies. Yet he was clearly targeted as he was the only one in the car and got caught completely off guard. The area where Hashim lived was notorious for gun violence, and initially the cops thought maybe he was K-worded by mistake, but soon enough an arrest was made. Not long after Hashim's murder, Top 5 was on Global News talking about his rap career. He told the reporter that he wasn't really about that life he rapped about and did it all for money and attention. The news segment, titled Meet the Black Canadian Artist Pushing for More Change, came in the wake of the George Floyd movement. The clip painted a picture of Top 5 trying to reform and help his community fight against violence.
Messaging.
Rap less about the violence, because you don't want to eager somebody else to go do some retaliate, like rapping less about violence. And we're getting to that, you know what I mean? We're getting into the industry. We're out here, we're trying to make the right records.
But in reality, he had just been involved in an execution-style of an innocent member of his community. It's possible that Top 5 got wind that the police were onto him and tried to clean up his image before they made an arrest, but the news segment didn't fool the cops, and a week later he was charged with accessory to murder. However, the police did not have enough evidence to hold him, so he got released on bail. He was placed on house arrest and had to wear an ankle monitor. He was also banned from using any social media platforms, although his management team could still post on his behalf. But Top 5 wasn't out for long. In May, the police upgraded his charges from accessory to murder to first-degree murder after they found out he had cut off his ankle monitor and gone on the run. Instead of laying low, Top 5 popped up on social media like nothing had happened. He went on IG Live, chatted with fans, showed himself drinking and working in the studio, and generally acted as if everything was normal. He claimed the allegations against him were false and that it was all a big misunderstanding. He even called out Toronto's mayor, asking for a sit-down, but also insulted him by calling him a goof and saying he's the one who really runs Toronto. The post got so much attention that the mayor responded, telling Top 5 to turn himself in. Of course, Top 5 didn't listen and instead pulled a take by dropping a music video called Movie featuring YG and Bundog, which quickly racked up millions of views. All this flexing led to his downfall, and the police caught up with Top 5 in Los Angeles in October 2021. It's unclear exactly how they found him, but he didn't make it too hard by going on IG Live and dropping music videos that gave away his location. Going on the run is never a smart move, but doing it while showing off on social media is just asking for trouble. Another well-known figure in Drake's inner circle is Chubs, often referred to as muscle and head of security. Chubs has a deep-rooted history in the streets, stemming from a crew he ran with on Toronto's east side. Drake frequently mentions Chubs as the guy on his team who would handle the dirty work, and Chubs himself has backed this up, saying in an interview, "I'm not ever gonna let nothing happen to him."
All good, Chubs will look around, find one to see my type. Damn, my dog and he know what I like.
There are even rumors that Chubs has run up on people in Toronto wearing anti-Drake clothing and dealt with them harshly. It's pretty much common knowledge that Chubs is fiercely loyal to Drake and would do anything to protect him. One famous incident involving Chubs was when he was accused of beating up Detail, a music producer who refused to work exclusively for Drake.
The guy who's suing him is a very famous producer and rapper, Detail, who says that Drake organized a beatdown on him in his backyard. You know, Drake's famous backyard with the pool where he has all the parties.
In retaliation, Detail was invited to Drake's Calabasas mansion, where Chubs allegedly met him at the door and broke his jaw. This kind of behavior shows the lengths to which Chubs will go to defend Drake and keep things in line.
And Drake's bodyguard, whose name is Chubs, just cold cocks him, breaks his jaw, and then he screams. He screams, "I will beat all your including your I don't give a I will hit you again. Do you think Drake is soft? You think Drake's a punk?"
Drake and Chubs were also co-owners of Pick 6, a classy downtown Toronto sports bar. Unfortunately, this establishment was the site of a brutal murder in 2018. A 28-year-old man named Jaden Jackson was partying at a private event hosted at the restaurant when he left with a young woman. As he was leaving, a black Civic pulled up on him. Jackson got spooked by whoever he saw in the car and took off running, while two gunmen jumped out and chased him into a parking garage, shooting him 20 times. The whole incident was caught on video and looked like a gangland hit. Drake had no affiliation with Jackson and never released a statement about the murder. To be honest, there was no real need to, since Drake wasn't at the party and had no relation to the victim. However, the did cast a dark shadow over Pick 6, which later closed in 2020. Another notorious member of Drake's crew is Baka Not Nice. Baka allegedly used to run with Chubs and has served time for armed robbery, assault, and various weapons charges. In 2014, Baka even got locked up on human TFK charges, accused of forcing a 22-year-old woman into prostitution and then her. Drake frequently name-drops Baka, implying that Baka would be quick to handle any beef with violence. Rumor has it that Drake went to Baka earlier in his career to help deal with a local artist he had problems with. On the track, Know Yourself, Drake declared that he might declare it a holiday when Baka gets out of jail. True to form, Drake helped boost Baka's music career when he got out in 2015, signing him to the OVO label and featuring him on his projects. Unfortunately, this street stuff often ends in tragedy, which is exactly what happened to one of Drake's close friends, Anthony Soares, better known as Fifth. In September 2017, Fifth was walking into his apartment complex when two masked men ran up on him and gunned him down in the lobby. The footage was absolutely brutal. You can see one of the shooters fire point blank at Fifth's body before wiping his fingerprints off the door handle. The police even called the murder a case of overkill. Drake was understandably distraught over the kill of one of his close friends. He paid tribute to Fifth by putting his face on the back cover of Dark Lane demo tapes, and he was a pallbearer at Fifth's funeral. Despite the tragedy, nobody was ever arrested for Fifth's murder, and the police expressed frustration that Drake didn't use his platform to try to get witnesses to come forward. So the question is, just how deep in this world is Drake? Let's dive in deeper. As we all know, even if you're not a fan, Drake labels himself the Sixth God. And that's for a reason. He's essentially crowned himself the king of the 6 distinct municipalities of Toronto, his home city in Canada. And from the looks of it, nobody of competing stature has even rebelled against his self-proclamation of this title. Many already know that Drake wasn't necessarily raised in the streets. In fact, his initial claim to fame came from playing the character Jimmy Brooks on the popular show Degrassi. This allowed him to live most of his childhood with his mother in the rather affluent Forest Hill district in Toronto. Although he didn't move to this district until the 6th grade, allegedly splitting a home with another family and his mother, his earlier years were spent in a much rougher area. Before moving to Forest Hill, Drake grew up on Weston Road, a neighborhood with a reputation for crime in some parts. His mother, a Jewish woman, did everything she could to give him the best opportunities. He also spent summers in Memphis with his father, which could account for some of his musical influences later in his life. Despite his somewhat privileged upbringing, Drake's involvement in the darker side of Toronto seems reminiscent of a mafia-type character, a theme he's alluded to in many of his songs. Take the track Mob Ties for example, where Drake specifically references his control over the city, hinting that he enlists all the major street leaders under his payroll to protect his position of wealth and power. This payment might be an actual capital or other methods, all while Drake keeps his distance from any illegal activities. This way, he remains a law-abiding citizen and maintains his image as a rather unproblematic rapper, attracting a wider appeal that further fuels the underworld criminal organization system he might be involved in back in Canada. In recent years, Toronto has emerged as one of the most prolific cities at the forefront of contemporary hip-hop, pop, and R&B, largely due to the public showcases by artists like Drake and The Weeknd. But beneath the surface, the city has a deep-rooted history of gang violence spanning decades. This includes classic disputes between the Crips and Bloods, Crips versus Crips, and Sick Thugs versus both. Currently, altercations typically linked to neighborhood rivalries, but before all this, there was a war between two cultures, Jamaicans and Somalis. Both of these cultures have influenced Drake's music and lyrics. In the song Draft Day, Drake explicitly raps, "Knew some Somalis that say we got it, wallahi," using the Somali Somali dialect of the Arabic word wallah, meaning I swear to Allah or God. Throughout his career, inflections of dancehall and Afro beats are easily recognizable in his discography. Even in some of his biggest hits on Views and More Life, he uses blatant terminology as song names like blem, a Jamaican term for tobacco or weed. This is why in the past, Drake has been accused of being a culture vulture for utilizing accents and phraseology from other heritages that he's not necessarily related to. But now with the knowledge of Toronto's history, it all makes a lot more sense. Unfortunately, his influences don't stop at music and vernacular. Let's delve deeper into Drake's connections, particularly his ties with the Halal Gang, a collective of rappers formed by Puffy L's Smoke Dogg, Moji, Safe, and Mustafa. The group's name Halal Gang comes from the Arabic word halal, meaning lawful, in honor of their Muslim roots. The members all hailed from Regent Park, a downtown Toronto neighborhood predominantly populated by East Africans and Caribbeans. Puffy L's and Moji were both Somali, Smoke Dogg was Jamaican, and Safe was Eritrean. All of them were practicing Muslims. You might already recognize Moji and Safe, both of whom received public cosigns from Drake. In one of Drake's biggest singles, Summer 16, he rapped Moji with the dance moves, a direct reference to the fellow Canadian rapper he once helped by financing his album. Drake also shouted out Moji in Jumpman, his hit collaboration with Future, where he modified one of his prior lines, switched it up with the left like Ginobili, and even referenced the song's dance move in another track, Energy. Throughout the early 2010s, Halal Gang gained recognition not just from Drake, but from other prominent rappers like A$AP Ferg. Their music videos garnered millions of views on the internet, helping to establish their presence in the rap scene. However, Halal Gang's origins are said to stem from being a criminal organization rivaling another Toronto gang, Sick Thugs. This rivalry escalated after the passing of one of its members, Rook. After Rook's death, Halal Gang focused more on music around 2010. However, the rivalry with Sick Thugs might have still been simmering. On June 30th, 2018, one of its original members, Smoke Dogg, was seemingly targeted in a shooting in front of a Toronto nightclub in broad daylight. Fans speculated that the hit was retaliation for filming a scene from his recent Fountain Freestyle music video in front of a rival gang's housing project, allegedly stirring up a neighborhood war that had been building tension for some time. Drake paid his respects to his fallen friend Smoke Dogg, following the release of his Scorpion album the day before. He posted on his Instagram story questioning all the violence. Smoke Dogg had actually accompanied Drake on 15 different dates on his Boy Meets World European tour in 2017, highlighting the close relationship between them. This incident was particularly tragic and ironic, coming just 2 weeks after another high-profile murder in the rap community. On June 18, 2018, XXXTentacion was murdered in a targeted homicide and attempted armed robbery, sparking conspiracy theories that Drake was behind the hit due to a reference in one of his song lyrics. This stemmed from a dispute on social media where XXXTentacion accused Drake of stealing his flow on the track KMT from XXXTentacion's song Look At Me. 4 months before his death, XXXTentacion jokingly posted on his Instagram story, "If anyone tries to me, it was Drake," which led fans to conjure up various theories. Within the past few months, Drake has actually been called as a witness by the defense in XXXTentacion's murder trial, although it's likely an attempt to scapegoat by the actual perpetrators. But given Drake's countless references to his connections to the streets, the speculation managed to hold some weight. Let's talk about another key player in Drake's crew, Anthony Hush Palman. The nickname likely stems from the scarcity of information about him online, keeping him shrouded in mystery. However, Drake gives us some insight through his lyrics in Miss Me, released in 2010, where he raps, "Hush has got a gun." This line suggests that Drake's ties to the Toronto street scene run deep. Hush wasn't always behind the scenes. He used to go by the rap name Young Tony, part of a 2000s rap group called Deep Pockets. His lyrics painted a gritty picture of life in Toronto. There's only one interview where he talks about his past, and it gives us a glimpse into his upbringing. He said, "I grew up all over the city, mainly in Scarborough though, but I was always the crazy one out of the group. People called me Treach while I was growing up. My real friends still do. I got that name from my boys because I used to do some mean-ish to people, so they started calling me Tony Treacherous, Treach for short. But for obvious reasons, I couldn't use that name in the rap game, so one day someone called me Young Tony. I just stuck with it, but on the street, they still call me Treach." As you can see, Hush's street reputation was well established before he ever linked up with Drake. There were even rumors that he was one of Drake's ghostwriters, especially after Drake tweeted about being in the studio with Young Tony. Hush is credited on almost every track from Drake's Nothing Was the Same and Take Care albums. He's not just some background figure, Hush has also worked with Beyonce, so his musical chops are undeniable. Drake even listed him in his top 5 rappers, which might have been a joke, but it shows the level of respect he has for Hush. In recent years, Hush has taken on more of an advisory role within the OVO conglomerate as Drake has brought on more writers. It's a common practice in hip-hop to keep friends and family on the payroll by giving them writing credits, ensuring they have a steady income. This arrangement allows them to fulfill other services too. There's no denying that Drake has connections with some dangerous individuals ready to act if things go south. Drake has shown he's not afraid to use his crew to handle anyone who disrespects him. Most of this dirty work happened during Drake's rise to fame, so they probably don't have much to worry about these days. And whether or not Drake is an actual mob boss, that is still up for debate.